Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. You know, I receive a lot of somewhat constructive criticism when I do YouTube videos. And I appreciate, as long as it's not like mean or nasty, feedback. And yesterday I made a video talking about how Kabam was giving the community the greatest gift ever on paper of rewarding us for our deaths. If you didn't see the video, I'm blackening my screen to pull up the screenshot that I talked about directly from the Kabam stream. And that is the milestone rewards that we get as a community. And I should say, with a huge disclaimer, you can only claim these if you complete one path of Necropolis, and that is a big if. But assuming you can, and we get as a community well over, I'm sure, 5 million deaths for completing Necropolis, which I would imagine is going to give you a Valiant title if you're willing to spend some level of money on Cyber Week. Although part of me is real curious. I'm going to do a video on this because people are saying, Prof, when are you going to jump into Necropolis? And part of me thinks during Cyber Week. Because if I don't have to do Necropolis to get Valiant, I'm just not going to do it. At least not for a little while. I mean, I will before this deadline, but I'm not going to be in a hurry. But if I can get, say, one rank 3 7-star from the rewards from Paragon, and I can get a second from Necropolis, and then maybe open the Valiant Cyber Week rewards to get a third rank 3 7-star, yeah, that's going to motivate me. And I think Kabam knows that a lot of people are in that boat. And a lot of people are scared of Necropolis. And Kabam seems afraid of Necropolis based off of how their designers talked about. Now look, I'm about to show a man's face. I'm sure he's a great guy. Very nice. Seemed friendly on the channel. But this guy's goal for 8 months has been to design content that is going to drive the best players in this game crazy. And I'm sure, even though I have not been able to, at the time of recording this, to see a bunch of in-depth videos from the best content creators and the best fighters in this community, I've not been able to see their content yet about Necropolis. But I'm sure it lives up to the challenge, especially when you jump in it in the first go-round without any tips on the phases of the boss and even the different nodes and paths that get you to the boss. I mean, how are you supposed to know what the quote-unquote easy path is when you're starting out? Maybe some people have an idea, a lot of people won't. So, if the great Seaton himself, if the great KT1 himself, Brian Grant, Karate Mike, the list goes on and on, I'm sure those of you watching could insert 50 names that could be understandably mentioned in this. If those summoners are going to take 100 plus revives to do one path, what's it going to be like for somebody like myself who has very average skills in this game? Or, better yet, what's it going to be like for somebody like myself who has average skills in the game, but unlike me, who gets to buy revives and potions with the money generated from this YouTube channel? What happens if you're a free-to-play player? What happens if you're a casual spender? What about those players? And so the criticism that I mentioned at the start of this video that I think is valid, and people always say, Prof, you don't take good constructive criticism. Well, I hope this video reminds those people that, yes, I can, and I do. If I just talk about Necropolis from the perspective that it's a gift for rewards, I am doing a poor job of ignoring the elephant in the room of this content, which is that it is intended, just like the Abyss was when it first came out, to be the biggest money grab, cash grab. Unit Man is undefeated. By the way, I have not jumped into this yet, so we're just going to, for the sake of argument, just look at it. And I do love that, unlike Labyrinth, or maybe even the Abyss, you can move the map around. I think that is an advantage that Kabam's learned from. But I do think, and let's see, each path has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 fights counting the boss, which is a fair number. I'm sure that there are going to be guides out there, but I'm also sure that a lot of people are not going to be able to do it anytime soon. And I know that because Kabam has said a lot of people aren't going to be able to do it anytime soon. And these fights will give you nightmares, and this boss will give you the most PTSD you've ever experienced from a boss. Which, by the way, the PI of everything seems relatively low, but then when you click on somebody and you see all the different nodes, and let's just by experiment look at the stats of, let's say, this Sauron. The Sauron has, if I'm blocking my screen, 7.8 million health, and the attacks actually, if you look at the discrepancy between like a rank 2 7-star or a rank 5 ascended 6-star versus this, you have the attacks actually pretty even, but the health is insanely different. So the elephant in the room is that people aren't going to be able to complete it anytime soon, and I claim to be, as I bring myself back into the fold, a voice for the average player, and yet if I'm just making videos about how great Necropolis is for the rewards of deaths, I'm really excluding a large percentage of not only my viewing audience and subscriber base, but just the community in general. And that's extremely fair. And so I wanted to make this video to say, I get it. I get that this kind of content is the opposite of so much of what Kabam has given us. And I do want to give Kabam credit. I'm going to do a different video about this. At the time of recording this, I have not recorded it, but I will on the live stream. This arena for 1 million points, I did this in 7 rounds of fights with 6 stars. Not even 7 stars, just 6 stars. That's amazing. That's fantastic. That is the fastest you can do fights in 7 days to get a good chunk of units and rewards. I also think that this double track event is a gift in itself that does reward us with a ton of great items and units. And even if you can just do the gold track, unlike the original gold track, it doesn't give you days with nothing. It gives you at least a tier 4 class catalyst, or a collector crystal, or a full energy refill, or depending on what your progression is, but especially if you're Paragon, some 6-star 6 stone crystals, and a lot of the stuff that we liked from the previous double track event. And I get that it's a rehash of most things, but the units are more important than ever before, because those units will be put toward hopefully Cyber Week or Necropolis Revives, which they also gave us a very fair cash offer, though I was surprised by how limited the time was. 2 days instead of, X amount of days, maybe 7 days on the usual deals. So they are giving us either good free stuff, good cheap stuff like the double track event, or a good health and potion bundle that you're going to need a lot more of, one, to finish it, but maybe if you're like me and you've got 100 revives plus 1,000 plus 4-hour crystals, you can do it. Either way, the bottom line is this. Necropolis is for the 1% of the community that has the funds and the time and the skills to do it, but it is frustrating to people, especially when you talk about reverse or inverse controls that apparently is in every phase of the boss. And you have to think about Squid Game and child games like they were saying in the live stream. It does cause some people who are already burnt out of the game to feel like they can't do it. My advice would be, let's wait for the guides to come out. Let's wait for the best of the best players to talk about it. And let's just, as a community, start forming a strategy. Don't be in a rush to use 10,000 units worth of revives and then get stuck on the boss. That's a nightmare. But at the same time, also realize that there are some free things you can do without jumping into it, like the arena I just showed, that's going to make your day better. So this is a longer than normal video, but I wanted to cover a very important subject. I appreciate the constructive criticism. I need to do a better job of talking about the players who have no chance to jump into Necropolis right now without spending their mortgage. And I'll try to keep that in mind more in the future. So thanks for the feedback.